Hello. It's Friday, July 3rd. We had a July 1st edition of the Pandemic Jam where we highlighted the anniversary of the beginning of the Battle of Gettysburg. But today we're going to take a step back and talk about revolution. Tomorrow is July 4th, so I'm going to pull from the definitive 18th century canon, music from the 18th century, specifically this book, the famed Giles Gibb Jr., his book for Fife, out of Ellington, Connecticut, 1777. It was edited from an original manuscript. It was edited by Kate Van Winkle Keller. Fifers, a lot of times, and especially in the early American history, wrote their music out as a way of keeping track of it, which probably led to some discrepancies and things. So this Giles Gibb was an American fifer in the American Army, or Patriot Army, if you will. He wrote out the melodies he knew or needed to learn, tunes for marches, for camp duty calls, for songs, dances, and hymns. He completed a book within a short span of time, probably entirely during the summer of 1777 when he was 17 years old. Yet this little book contains tunes popular in all the colonies at a crucial time in our history. Included is the earliest version of the tune for Yankee Doodle. Yeah, I'm going to play that. It sounds really weird. And it goes by another name in this book, but it's clearly Yankee Doodle. Giles Gibb's book is for the Fife an important discovery and the key to social and military history of the period. Giles Gibbs himself, this is written by the editor, Giles Gibbs himself was born in East Windsor, which is now Ellington, Connecticut, in 1760. So in 1777 he was 17 years old. There is some evidence that he served in the Revolutionary War as a fifer between 1770 and 1780. He was captured and killed by a raiding party under British command in Royalton, Vermont in October of 1780. He was an ordinary musician who could play fairly difficult pieces and memorize them, but he was not skilled in copying or writing out music, which he had heard. As his book stands, it would be difficult for a musician who did not know the tunes. I'll attest to this. Some of these tunes are wacky. Although major changes have not been necessary, most of the tunes had to be compared with several contemporary versions to interpret and verify notes, rhythm, and barring. Full editorial notes will appear in the facsimile edition, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's interesting that this person sat down with, having done that, I sat down with a diary once and transcribed it, and man, you deal with spellings and things and trying to read people's handwriting. That's why you got to teach script, or we're doomed as historians. So this fine author, Miss Van Winkle, did all this, and this was published in probably around the bicentennial, it looks like, yeah, in Connecticut. So I thumbed through this morning, so what I'm playing are tunes that I could pick up real quick. Because as the individual editor said, some of this stuff is, you got to really look at it to get a hint of what it is. But I found some good stuff. Some of it, you can hear like proto versions of what would become more popular tunes later in the 19th century. So we'll play a few tunes from this book, and we'll see what's up. So here we are, Giles Gibb on July the 3rd. Hear the church bell ringing. It's 11 o'clock, so that must mean it's time to play some music. First tune, Theos Gendar, aka Yankee Doodle, as found in Giles' book, transcribed right out of the book, so it's going to be a little weird. Transcription puts the B strain, of what we normally play as the B strain, first. So I will do that. and there's just some weird differences, but you can hear Yankee Doodle in it. So I can almost see this guy playing this. You know, he's probably just trying to play it from ear, and so it's not, you know, sounding exactly what I'm used to playing. But if somebody listened to it would say, "Yeah, Yankee Doodle, 1777, screw the British." So here we go. Tehos Gendar, Tehos Gendar. Yeah, it's hard to play because you want to do it, you know. The version that would have come closest to that in modern lexicon would be what we used to call Old Yankee, New Yankee and Old Yankee. I've later on become to find out we're relatively contemporary to each other, but just a little different in style. But Old Yankee, we used to play. Yeah, so that's just bizarre. Well, here we begin our journey through Giles Gibb's world. Hi, we're going to play number 2 here. We went through the book a little bit. In the front of the book, there are things that appear to be camp duties or tunes that had specific meaning, you know, when you played them, like, you know, they signified actions and or times of day. And I found a version of the Rogues March. And Rogues March was usually played for drumming dudes out of camp. You know, if you're, or, you know, marching perpetrators of criminal or bad acts. You play the Rogues March, and it was used into the mid-19th century. It's in Civil War era books as a very lively 6/8. But there's a 2/4 version of it here in Giles's book, and it's, you know, it sounds just like it. You can't not hear the tune in it. The Rogues March. The Rogues March, and later on it would morph into So it, it evolves, but the basic melody kind of remains. So Giles would have heard, if Giles was around 70 years later, he would have recognized it. The Rogues March. Number 3 today. 3? Yeah. I picked it because, well, and again, it was a tune that I played a version of, so it was easier to decipher, but it's still weirdly different in a certain, in a subtle way. It's the Rakes of Mallow Quick Time, which I guess is I don't know what the heck that means. It's probably something that get guys online real quick. It's in 2/4 time. The Rakes of Mallow, you probably heard. You'd be, that tune. Well, this is a version of that from Giles's book. The second part sounds very close to what we're used to hearing, but the first part is a little different. So, Rakes of Mallow, that's how it's pronounced. It's spelled out M-A-R-L-O-W. Rakes of Mallow, M-A-L-L-O-W. But, the guy was writing as he heard it. So, Rakes of Mallow, Quick Time, from the Giles Gibbs book. Yeah, that evolved into something a little more, I don't know, what we're used to. This is a more modern version of the same tune. You can see how it changed. When it changes, who knows? Even if they might have been contemporaries, somebody might have been playing it that way at the same time that young Mr. Gibbs was playing it this way. So let's move on to another one and see what we find.